Or they can just leave that down.
Okay, let's go right into our celebrations and closings for the week.
Yeah.
So let's see who's here today. Hive team's here. They closed for this week. And focus group is here. None of it that's on the board now. So way to go, closers. Good job. Okay, anybody have any celebrations they want to talk about this week? Anything great that happened in your business? You want to share with somebody? Yes.
I did some major, massive, awesome juggling while I was at Disneyland. Okay, sorry. I had to put in 2 offers while I was out of town. So,
Wow.
and it's under contract, so it was worth doing.
Good job. I think it's true. We barely never really have a vacation.
And my lender sent me a text yesterday and said that the client's super impressed with me and said they won't use anyone else.
That's awesome.
Because I have the same work ethic that they do.
That's a huge celebration right there. Good job, Donnelly. I love that. Yeah, 2 of my listings while I was out of town had multiple offer situations. And thank goodness I have a TC like Courtney that handled all of it for me while I was out of town. It was insane. I was like, no, don't do multiple offers while I'm gone. Hate that. Okay, so yeah.
And I have to do a plug for Jared Sparrow.
Yeah.
He saved my bucket too while I was out of town.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Having a TC is invaluable. Yeah. Okay, so anybody else have any celebrations? Anything great that happened in their business? Yes.
I found it ironic that I just transferred over here just within the month. And both the first 2 deals I did were both with Presidio agents.
And did they go good?
Yeah. They're going, one closed out this week and one is, we're still in the process of it.
That's awesome. I love that. So for everyone that doesn't know, this is Lori Anderson. She switched over in the last month. So, okay. Anybody else? I saw another hand with the celebration. Yes, they're
Closing on my first listing next week.
Woohoo! Yay! That's awesome. And that was actually a pretty tough one, huh?
It is tough.
I love how things are so. Yeah.
That's the spice of life.
Okay, what else? Who had a good celebration? Something great that happened in their business this week? I feel like I saw some more hands. Okay, well, I'm sure you all had something great. You're just being humble about it. So, congratulations. Okay, any wants and needs? Anybody have a buyer, a seller, something they want to talk about? This is not the time to shh. Yes.
Sorry, I'm sure Josh maybe has said stuff, but we have townhomes in Spanish Fork. So if anyone has clients looking for brand new build townhomes in Spanish Fork,
What price point are they?
they are about $280.
$280. Awesome. Yeah, I think you put them on the family basic page, right?
Yeah, they're 2,000 square feet, so they're bigger with 2 car garages.
Do they have yard space?
No.
No. Anybody else? Wants and needs, buyers that are difficult, sellers that are difficult, anything that we gotta figure out. Yvonne.
I really need help with my Saratoga Springs. It's overpriced, not one showing on it in 3 months. And if anybody would just please go out there and show it and then just give me a rating comments that I could use for my seller. And yes, I've tried about everything, but I'm willing to take other ideas.
Just on tour, Yvonne?
Staged. As staged as much as he let me. No, it's not on tour. I should do that.
Yeah, get it on tour because then you get a bunch of feedback.
Well, I'll put it on a tour for next Thursday.
Okay, cool.
You said you have tour?
Isn't the tour on Monday?
Is the tour on Monday?
Monday.
Next Thursday is
The
tour.
sign says Monday. I swear the sign says.
I thought they did
Your
too.
dressing's in by Monday.
Oh.
Please read all of the sign.
That'll throw some people off, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, if you want your houses, your listings on tour, I've got my Daybreak home that we keep dropping the price. We're like under $120 a square foot right now, and it's stunning. So it's such a good deal. All my comps come in at $675, we're at $660. So my seller has got to move to Georgia. So if you guys know anybody looking in Daybreak, it's such a cool house. So, thank you. Anybody else got anything, wants, needs?
I still have an unrepresented buyer wanting to do for Lynn. If anybody has a SUV or truck that still wants to do that, I can't limited agent it. It's a foreclosure.
Explain
Banks
more,
offers.
I'm not sure what that
Where's
means.
It's like past Heber, way out there.
It's between Strawberry and Starvation.
Did you call Chrissy?
It's right on the
Yeah,
outskirts of
she's,
Deschutes.
And what is it? It's land?
It's 10 acres with a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. This is an unrepresented buyer. He's working with Guild Mortgage, so financing is secure, but I cannot double say it, nor do I have the time to go up there. Do you want to do that tonight? He wants to go at 2
I'll see what I can do
for today.
for today.
Okay, thanks, Lynn.
Love it. Okay, anybody else? Anything? All right, we are moving on to our broker moment. So we're gonna reiterate the broker moment from last week because we're talking about SkySlope today. So what is the proper way to put your commission and all sorts of things in SkySlope? Who knows this? For a prize. You're teaching today. Anybody else?
Can you restate that?
Yes, what is the proper way to put your commission into SkySlope so we know how to get paid?
Like this.
You cheater, you. Oh, I didn't know you wanted to do something. Okay, Ben is smart. I was gonna stop and sitting there. Okay, so nobody has an answer, huh? We have prizes. Wait, what's the question? Sorry.
You would let me answer.
Who is the proper way to put your commission into SkySlope?
Commission filled out completely with everybody involved.
Yes, yes,
Oh, this
Okay.
is fun.
yes. You guys are gonna learn a lot today. There's a tab in SkySlope that says commission, okay? Right? So on the back here, you would click on the tab that says your commission within your transaction. And it'll have all the notes. Who do you pay, how much do you pay for your TC? How much do you pay for a referral fee to somebody you're referring? How about somebody that, a co-agent that you were working with, let's split this 50-50. There's a little note box right there. We want you to put that all in there. Because if you don't, guess what happens? We pay you a whole check, and then I don't find out that we paid you a whole check for a week later till you go, oh, you overpaid me. And everyone else has been not paid.
Okay.
So it gets kind of ugly.
So you can follow with where she's at. This is my own transaction, so don't worry. I'm not using any of my TC files for this training today. I actually tried to create dummy files, but Carrie yelled at me. She acted like she had enough work or something. So where she's talking about, you see how it breaks it down?
And then there's comments right here. 50% goes to this team member, 20% goes to this team member, whatever you need. You know what I mean? Just notes. And then right up here is how much to go to your TC, if you have a TC. But we just need everything in here. And there's a whole classroom of people that should have known that today. And so I guess these prizes we'll save for next time. Debbie DeGrove books. All right. Right, Yvonne?
You actually are runner-up for our ugly sweater first.
Oh, these are? Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm
Your
waiting.
candy bars
I flew
were-
in late last night and was running on 2 hours sleep, so I'm out of it today. Okay. All right, so let's talk about next week. Tuesday, we have Molly Nielsen coming. What's that? What is it, Yvonne?
She is going to be teaching, she is a trainer, organizer of the MLS.
Oh, the
She's going
MLS.
to be teaching on Showtime and List Hub.
Showing time and list hubs. If you want to learn more about that, she'll be there. And then Wednesday, we have Petter with Traveling Title coming to teach legal stuff. Thursday, we do have our home tour, so turn everything in by Monday.
Yep, Monday at 5. Just text me the MLS number and I'll get it organized.
Okay? Those are fun to go to, even if you don't have a listing, because then you get to see what's out there and
So it's just Presidio listings? or
just
is it other
Presidio
stuff?
in-house, yeah.
No new construction tours?
No, it's just our listing tours. Okay, and don't forget that tonight, is it tonight, Josh Nichols?
Yes.
Today's the 7th?
No, today's the 11th.
The 11th, okay. Just making sure I'm not giving that info because it says the 7th. But between 6 and 8 o'clock tonight, the chess game of sales is here in this conference room. He has done who was here? Donnelly was here. The first time he did scripts, Donnelly. What? You were here for Josh
I
Nichols'
was,
first
it was
class.
not last week, it was the week
And what's your review on that thing?
It was awesome, great training.
Yeah.
I would not miss tonight. If you can move something, move it. It would be good to be here.
So Josh is the team leader of the focus group that just moved in the very back corner, and he's teaching all his scripts that he teaches his whole team, and how to win transactions by just like the things you say. So tonight, be here between 6 and 8 p.m. There will be pizza. Okay?
He wants you to RSVP so he knows how much to buy.
Yes. Please let us know if you plan on being here. Okay. Ryan Johnson, Mortgage Minute from Fairway Mortgage.
Yes.
Please tell us something we don't know.
Thank you. You guys may know this. Loan amounts have changed. Have you guys heard of this? Anybody know what they went up to in Utah County?
510.
510 for conforming, which means somebody could buy, potentially with a conventional loan, a home at $537,000 with only a 5% down payment, because that 510 is loan amount, not purchase price. FHA loans also went up. You think it was 377? It's going up to 401, so just over 400,000, which means a home up to 415,000. Someone can come in with not great credit and do an FHA loan only 3.5% down, all the way up over $400,000. You guys run into many VA loans, and have you heard about the loan limit changes there? There are no more. They completely removed all loan limitations on VA loans. So if you do have a veteran buyer and they want to buy $1 million house with zero money down and no mortgage insurance and a great like 3-something rate, good to go. So that's nationwide, obviously. If you completely just said no more limits.
Is there an age limit on that?
On the VA, there's not. As long as they have VA eligibility, you have to check something called a certificate of eligibility. But if they were,
So can they be non-active, but they?
oh yeah. Most of the ones we do, as long as they had enough time in to be eligible for that loan benefit.
Well, if they get other VA benefits, they would.
They typically do. They typically do. Anybody who was in for a couple of years, anybody who ever deployed out to a combat zone, they're going to be eligible for VA loans. I don't know if you'll see as many of those. I don't know how many $1 million VA loans you see, but keep it in the back of your head. Yeah, the big change I think really is up in the FHA limits. FHA loans it's the new subprime. It's where we go for anybody that's got credit challenges, and now we can go up to really about $415,000 on purchase price with a minimum down payment. So, questions?
Hey Ryan, maybe real quick, just talk about Davis, Weber, and Summit County.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
some big changes there too. And some of you guys may do loans up in Heber area.
Yeah, those counties, these limits are county specific, and they've gone really high in some of those other counties. So Salt Lake County FHA limit's gone up to 416. Davis and Weber counties 646,000. FHA.
And conventional. So they went from conventional went from 484 to 646. So that's a huge jump. They actually passed Salt Lake County.
Wasatch or Summit County 765,000 FHA loan. So that's as high as anywhere in the country. Summit County. Summit County was 646. No, 765. I'm sorry, that's the big one.
And Heber was 640, and what was Salt Lake? Did you say?
Salt Lake is 416 for FHA, and I can send you these as well.
That would be great.
We can get this stuff out for you. We do run into that occasionally. I recently did a loan for someone actually in California. They were buying an $800,000 house, but their credit stunk. So they did an FHA loan. They just put down enough to get to the county limit, which is like $713,000. No problem. FHA backs it, and they're good to go. So even in those higher priced areas, FHA is a good option for people if they have high ratios or credit issues. So what else? Questions? Good?
Makes
Okay.
it easier to get people into homes, huh?
For sure.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we are having the ugly sweater contest after this class. So as soon as we have our judges here, I don't know where Mike go.
Mike's out. He's taking pictures.
Okay, perfect. So we need everybody to go to the Raising the Bar sticker on the big wall back there for a big group photo, and then we will give prizes to first, second, and third place. Okay, so don't forget, go straight there after this class. Okay, I'm gonna turn the time over to Courtney Tetrick, who is a TC that knows our SkySlope really well.
You're supposed to be holding my coffee. Yeah, remember? You want me up there? I'm gonna call you on the carpet, Brian. So, how many of you have logins to SkySlope? Let's start there. Who doesn't? You don't have a login? Okay. Have you taken the webinar yet? Okay. So, get with me after and we'll get you, make sure you're all set up. So, how many of you learn by doing and how many of you learn by listening? Doing. Okay. Hands on. I'm going to try not to bore you, so we'll start out first off. Yes, the eyes are my real eyes. They're not fake. And yes, my bite is what everybody says it is. So, just know this. So, if you guys want to follow along, I'm going to do, it's hard to teach this what you do. So, log in. If everybody wants to log in, we can create some mock transactions. If you have a transaction that is not uploaded and your past 5 days, what's going to happen? Fine. You got the fine that just came out, $5 a day for docs not being turned in on time. So, first thing I want to get familiar with is what if we have a buyer-broker agreement but nothing under contract yet? Where do we think Jennifer wants to see this? Does she want us to create a dummy file to get our buyer-broker in there?
Mine are working docs. I don't know if that's right.
Yes,
So we're good.
absolutely correct. Does everybody know where the working docs is? Okay, so this is the first and most important part of SkySlope, other than the login page. So our working docs tab, so you have an office inbox, you can do your personal docs. So in our personal docs folder, what do we see?
How'd you get there? Can you
So-
go back to home and show?
Yep, go back to, so is everybody on the home page that wants to follow along? Sorry, the internet sometimes is slow, sorry. Okay, so homepage, everybody has this homepage, right? Is it familiar? Mine probably looks different than yours. Does mine look different than yours? Okay. Mine probably looks a little bit different. So on your homepage, you can see down, you have working docs. You see where that's at? Kinda? Okay. So, why do you think I'm starting here? Nobody needs to try to create my madness because I am mad. But the reason I'm starting here is this is where we keep our forms that are not under contract, that we don't actually have a property to go with, so that we can avoid our $5 fine. The other thing is if we go into our office docs, where's the office docs folder? Oh, I know I am. Bear with me. Hold. Where's the Grinch to help me pass the time?
I don't have an office index.
Tab, she doesn't have.
Yeah, you're on it right now. No, that's office docs. That's different.
Okay, so your personal docs. So you won't have everything that I have. So
Right, but you went from your office index. Anyways, sorry.
no, you're fine.
I'm just
I want to
trying
make sure.
mentally understand it, so.
Okay. So in these office docs, what do we see up there?
Earnest money template.
So
What
these
else?
are just forms.
So these are the brokerage forms. So this also is where you can find your built-in $199 fee if you don't want to use the built-in one and you want to do the compliance form at the end. This is where you find it.
Is there a referral form?
The referral form is,
I can't see from here.
it's,
Sure it is.
it's going in. Is it in? I don't think it's in there yet.
No, it's in there.
Is it in there?
Broker referral.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah, it's right there. They won't let me rename them so they look prettier, so it's so hard. You just have to read the whole title.
Do you need me to rename it? I can rename it.
No,
that
I'm
makes
right.
sense.
It won't take that back end part off, so it just looks ugly. I tried to rename them so they look really pretty.
So this is one of the spots you want to get familiar with, because if you're a buyer's agent, this is going to be where you're going to keep those buyer brokers after they're signed, so we don't have a $5 fee. As you can see in my personal docs, what I've done is I've got in and I've created folders. Okay. Now, here's the trick. To get this from this folder into a slope is tricky.
When
And
you
the way
say
you do it
into,
is you have
what do
to
you mean by that? Into a slope, meaning into a contract, so that you're under contract.
Okay, once you go under contract, then we're gonna create a slope, right?
Just never heard that term before.
You guys don't hesitate to stop me. This is one of those things that I know like the back of my hand, and I talk fast and not always very audible, so don't hesitate to stop me. Okay, so the working docs folder is for buyer broker agreements or agreements that you are working in. So documents that you're actively working, because what can happen with compliance on the back end is we can see that that's uploaded. We can see the date and the time that you guys uploaded that document. So that way, if there's any question on the $5 fee, it's right there, okay?
So it's a $5 fee for every document?
Per document, per day that it's late. Does everybody understand how that concept works?
No, it's every contract. So when you have a buyer broker signed or a listing agreement signed, the division of real estate requires within 5 days of that agreement being signed that it is put in the broker's back-end system. So we've been really lax on it way too long. And we have people that the week before closing decide to upload everything. And the problem with that is we have all sorts of stuff that has to go through in order to get paid. And people just like, oh, my stuff's all in, can I get paid? And it's like, are you kidding me? So, and if we were to get audited, the division would fine us. So at this point, we're saying, okay, you guys have got to get better at your contracts. You got to start putting them in. So we're enforcing a $5. We'll give 5 days after your listing agreement or your buyer broker signed. One of those. So those two. Those two. Or Repsy if you skip those two. Does that make sense? Which you shouldn't be, but if you do.
And we should just get in the habit. So while we're on this subject, what constitutes a full agency agreement? What documents do you need to have an official buyer broker? What do we need?
Buyer broker agreement
Wire
and
fraud.
addendums,
Who said buyer fraud?
Wire fraud.
Gold star.
disclosures.
property inspection.
For your protection, get a home inspection and buyer's due diligence. Buyer's due diligence is the big one. What does buyer's due diligence tell our clients? Jeff? Who teaches that
We
class?
don't do everything, basically.
Right. I call that form the Courtney is stupid form. This is the Courtney is stupid form. I can only help you in the purchase and sell of real estate. You need to seek professional advice for anything else you need in this category. That has nothing to do with SkySlope, so since we were on it, I figured we would bring it up. So when we're back on our home page, we have our buyer under contract. Who knows where we go to start this slope? What's that under?
It's just on the homepage.
Your guys' has one that says actually create a transaction?
Yeah.
Manage.
Okay, so mine's different. It says manage transactions. So you're gonna go to your create transaction. So bring up your create transaction screen. So here we can actually input an address and it may or may not find it. I love pink, so that's probably why my computer just went pink. So you can either search your address, and sometimes it will pull directly from our MLS. SkySlope is linked to MLSs throughout the nation in case you haven't noticed. So sometimes you will put in your property address and it will pull somewhere in New Jersey. Make sure to watch that. Make sure we're double checking our inputs. So your screen's gonna look a little bit different because then you should already be the agent that's chosen at the top. Everybody got that?
No, I have to do it on my phone. My laptop won't let me in.
Gotcha. So who's got? Okay, so you can see the agent needs to be you, so you need to make sure that that's you. Okay. So is this self-explanatory? Everything with a red asterisk needs to be filled in. If it's not, you get those nasty little messages on the side of your screen that says, do not pass go, do not collect $200. No moving forward. So APNs, we don't have to worry about. However, here's where a lot of confusion comes in because SkySlope's verbiage is different than our lingo. So how do you know what checklist to choose? Well, we're doing a transaction for a buyer.
Sorry.
So you're gonna choose a buyer site. The second one is the type of representation. Purchaser, tenant, buyer. Listing, landlord, that's the sellers. So it's a little bit different verbiage than we're used to in mainstream real estate. Okay. Everybody want to do a fake transaction? Enter, move through the fields? So if we
Yeah,
run into
do
any
it.
questions, okay? How do we want to start this? Okay, so obviously I'm going to create myself. Jennifer Warren Carey.
What's that?
Warren Carey.
Okay.
So what if we have a for sale by owner, no MLS number, but we have an asterisk?
Yeah, you just put zeros in, just put zeros.
You can put zeros in. I usually do FSBO and then seller's name or the first part of the property address. Because once we do that, and for this purpose, we're gonna do that. If you have the MLS number, you're gonna put it there, copy and paste. It works in this very well. Street number. So we're gonna do 123 North. Dream on. Okay? With it being Christmas, so if you put in your zip code, let's see what's one that's got a shared zip code. So when we put in 84003, that is a shared zip code in Utah. What does it, for some reason that was saying that it's, so 84003 can be Highland or Lehigh. SkySlope automatically defaults it to Highland. You can go in and change this if it's actually Lehigh, not Highland. Same when you have Payson, so like 84651 is a shared zip code in the state of Utah with several different cities. A lot of Southern County, because we're not up to speed yet, have shared zip codes. So you can change these fields to whatever the city needs to be. Okay, then of course we need to choose our representation type. We're gonna do buyer. Why is your built important?
Lead-based paint.
There you go. Because it's gonna adjust your checklist for the lead-based paint to help make it easier for you guys to follow the flow and know exactly what you're gonna need for compliance and to keep you in compliance and to get your paycheck, right? Because let's be honest, that's what we're all after is a paycheck. End of the day. So we can select where we received it from. If it's a personal referral, did the office give us the lead? Is it an SOI? We're doing this for tracking purposes. It can help you run reports and generate reports to see where your marketing money is being spent the best or most effectively. Okay, so it's quiet and I'm not used to not having a smart butt in the back seat giving me grief.
Boy, I could be that person quick.
Troy was supposed to be here, but I told him not to.
It was just good info, so we're just taking it all in.
Okay, so why do you think they're looking for the acceptance date?
So that you're in compliance?
Good, ding, 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 ding. There's a second reason for this. When we're building our SkySlope, we are building the way that we can automatically copy and paste and fill in our forms easy peasy, chicken peasy, or whatever that saying is. Easy squeezy, what is it?
Easy, nice and sweet.
There you go.
Easy lemon squeeze.
I have Tourette's, so I try not to use my sort of verbiage. So we're gonna put that this was taken today, close date is gonna be the 30th, just hypothetical. So then we're gonna hit next. Oh, did we miss them?
Representation.
What was the one?
Representation.
Presentation. Okay, so then we're gonna hit next. So any of you have this big purple banner in your SkySlope on your pending transactions, where it should be pending, but it's incomplete?
Thank goodness I don't.
Okay. Do we know where to find that? We'll go to that next. So then we're going into our contacts. So in here, you will see everything with an asterisk is required. So you will fill in all of this information. This is building your file. So you're gonna enter in your buyer, so.
If that says seller's last name, do you put the seller of the property or the buyer?
The seller.
So just from the MLS then, or from tax data?
Tax data, you should have it on your rep C. You know, if you get a counter, does everybody know how to find the name on tax data? That's another class. I'm more than happy to help if you want to call for one-on-one on that. County records are our friends. So you're going to fill that in. Now, notice there's no any other asterisks in the side of the transaction that Presidio does not represent. So we're going to just hit save. Had I not hit save, when I hit this next button, maybe, it would not have gone next. It would have popped up that you were missing some of the information. Okay, so now this is going to be our client. This is going to request more information out of our client. So who should our client be?
Builder.
You know, I'm so glad my grandkids haven't gotten into that one. My kids did, but my grandkids haven't yet. But I've had about enough of PJ Masks and Mickey's Roasters. So notice how the email is not an asterisk link. I'm working to get that as an asterisk link because why is that important? Electronic signatures, DigiSign, no DocuSign. Who said that word?
That's right. We use DigiSign now. Okay,
So, so make sure you have that email address in there. The one thing you cannot get away with is skipping this phone number. It drives me crazy. Those of you that I TC for, you notice that the phone number in that is typically yours. Because if you don't provide it to me, I don't have it, so I'm going to put your phone number so they know how to reach your client. This is used for multiple issues, office issues, if you go on vacation, if you get put in the hospital. We need to be able to go in and be able to step in and finish servicing your client as a brokerage. So then we're going to hit save. Now that save is our friend, okay? So if we have more than one buyer though, this only shows a place for one. Down at the bottom, you can add another one. So if you have two buyers, you can add it.
So husband and wife, you have to have separate.
Have separate lines because it's gonna make it easier on your life when you're using DigiSign to keep it all mainstream, okay? So here's the thing that really sucks about this. If you accidentally hit new purchaser, you have to enter a buyer. Even if there's not, it was just an accident, you just have to default it out because the delete function's not active on agent accounts.
You can't hit cancel on there.
Cancel is more for, oh, thanks. She fixed that. You used to not be able to. You used to have to default it out.
I have a new construction under contract and they do the contract. So how does that play into our, I mean, obviously we have the documents and, but they're kind of in control. So
Builders will take control of a transaction. However, if you're representing the buyer, you need to make sure that you're still there and you're reviewing any documents that builder is sending to your buyer. So, but you still want to have your contact information because what else is this developing for you?
a digital.
A digital database, an SOI for drip campaigns.
And is it time stamped?
Huh?
Is this time stamped as you go back and forth with docs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'll show you guys where you can see that. Okay. So we can take that out. So then next we're going to go to title. So notice at the top, the search contacts bar. I love this. This is a great feature. It would be better if SkySlope could work out the kinks and it worked all the way all the time. They are working on it. Multiple conversations with them. So we're going to just pick a title company. Notice how I searched and it automatically brought up our title company. Now, if you have a preferred vendors list, I will show you how you can add that into your SkySlope. So when you use that search function, it'll automatically default and fill in the information. Okay, so save, and I'm just gonna blast through this, guys, because this is all pretty, just walk through basics. Okay, why would we want to gather the other agent's information?
Again, if you're not available, the office can still move forward easy.
Can still move forward easy. Maybe we want to tell them thank you for being so amazing to work with. We have a program where you can do that and say, hey, thanks for being amazing. Here's the information, and we send off the card, okay? We don't want to send thank you cards to Jennifer. Anybody know her? She's kind of weird. Okay, so see how we're still incomplete. How do we get that to go from incomplete to pending to make it an official pipeline? Anybody?
When you click on the incomplete tab, will it tell you? Is it a link?
Nope.
What was the question?
You have all your.
Is it
How do you?
Top it says incomplete.
Nope. How do you get this incomplete to go into a pending folder?
Submit.
I know, I'm kind of easy to read.
The little hand over the submit really kind of.
The little handle over the submit. What did that do though? Did it actually get rid of our incomplete?
No, I want you to go to the commission now.
Okay, so this is the screen that we were looking at earlier when Jennifer was doing her broker moment. We're gonna break this down. So any of our commission needs to be put in here. Okay.
That's
So
under the title tab. You're still on the left.
we're still creating it, but your tabs will start to fill in each step you get in the slope. Can you see that?
Okay.
So when you first go in, the first tab that you're going to create when you create a list or create a transaction is going to be the transaction tab. Then as we complete the transaction tab and we hit next, it's going to take us into the contacts tab. And then when we hit submit, it's going to take us into the commission tab. Okay. Again, more information you have, the better. Make sure that down here, referral information is filled in appropriately. What is the new fee schedule for referrals?
5% in-house, 15 out of house.
Great.
It's to encourage you to look within Presidio first.
So internal referrals are 5%, external referrals are 15%. Okay.
We have agents from Tooele to Heber, from Ogden to St. George. So you should be able to find somebody to, help on if you're going to send a referral out. So we encourage you to look within Presidio before you go find an agent outside.
Unless you're the crazy foreclosure lady that takes them in Fruitland in the middle of nowhere. Then you have to look over.
We
So
have 2 agents in Heber.
neither one was available, but
But if they're coming out of state, isn't that?
Out of state's different, but
You can
within the
just-
state, we want you to.
But you can negotiate whatever referral rate.
Yeah.
Usually it's 25 to 30%.
And this is what you have to pay.
You're getting
Presidio.
charged on your.
Oh, this is not like, oh,
yeah,
top.
this is not what you're off the top.
Okay,
That will vary, and
that's what I was confused. Okay.
refer to Jennifer for that negotiation tool. She's really good at it. Average is 25 to 35%. Don't just let your SOI walk through your hands, because there is a risk with allowing somebody else to handle our clients. So, okay, so what if this sales commission is 3%, but it's net, and it just calculated the gross, right? Because when we put in 3, it automatically calculates a gross BAC versus a net BAC. So again, our comments is how accounting can see what needs to be paid out of your check other than what has been deemed up here. So make sure that you're following the proper format and have the information in here. I also go one step further as I add in the referral information just to be safe. So in case they miss it up here, they have it down here. Just a safeguard. They might send you a nasty gram saying we don't need it in those 2 places and be like, sorry, I just want to make sure you get it.
Thank you for doing that. The easier you can make our job, the better. The quicker we can get your paycheck out.
So, all right, so then we're gonna hit submit. Once we do the commission, what happened? we now have, go ahead.
Sorry,
Darling.
before we move on, going back to the commission.
Okay.
And I apologize if I missed it. I'm trying to do it as you go along and I'm not as fast as you are.
You're fine, you're fine.
So,
That's why I said, just tell me to
So
slow
on
down.
a sales commission, I put in 3%, and then other deductions, is that where you would put the 199 office thing? Do we need to,
If we're paying for it.
if we're paying for it?
If you're paying for the compliance fee, I will show you where you put that.
Okay,
You can put it down in the notes that you're paying for it.
yeah, but that's where you would
Other
mark it,
deductions.
right?
You could do other deductions.
And then you put a note that
Yep.
that's what it is.
Yep.
And then the TC fee, that's if we're working with someone like yourself or Jared or.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jared, we have Amber now too, right?
Amber, Mary King's doing a few of them, and one more, Michelle Twain.
Who was the one that just came over from the Canada?
Michelle Twain.
Okay.
What about, are you at deposit amount or did you already talk about that?
Deposit amount?
Yeah.
So this is a back end thing. I mean, you can fill that in, but of course,
I don't know what it is.
it's basically what's going to be your commission after all of the
So
fees
we
are
don't have to
deducted.
worry about
So that's back end,
Oh,
so you don't need to worry about it.
checking it.
Like I said, some of the fields on my screen are gonna be different than what you guys have access to just
I
because of,
that too, so that's
Yeah.
why I'm like, what is that?
if it's different, just holler. So I tried to make a fake profile, but I couldn't get a login for it without changing my own stuff, so
You're good. This is great.
there
Thank
you
you.
go. Okay, so now we have, once we hit submit from that commission screen, we actually have a pending transaction for Dream on Street, okay? So Bob the Builder now is buying his home. So can we see our next tab? Checklist. So everything in blue, what does that mean? Required. Okay, so when you upload it, does everybody know how to upload their docs?
Yes.
You can do attach from this screen. If you have external folders where you hold them all in one place and want to do all of the docs at once, we can do that in a different place. So on your question for the compliance fee, if you're going to pay that, in the checklist where it says compliance form right there, you're going to put Donna Lee Payne and hit save. So what that's going to tell compliance when your paycheck comes in is there should not be a separate line item on the HUD for a compliance fee, that it's coming out of your commission check. Okay?
Do you still need to have the doc in there if you are paying that?
No, if you as the agent are paying it, you do not need to have the compliance form. By sending these instructions, once it comes over, if the HUDs don't show that admin fee on it, they will actually, compliance will check that off on your checklist, so you can pay.
Number 8, confirmation of earnest money. With new construction, they have kind of 2 deposits. The initial with Edge, like 500, and then another 2,000. So can you upload another attachment
Yes.
to that? Okay.
Okay, and we're gonna go through how we do that. Because like, we only have one spot for our preliminary title report and our plat, and how many of our title companies send those as separate documents. So you'll have 2 PDFs you need to upload to that. Also, on all addendum, I mean, that encompasses everything that is not the first 6 pages of that real estate purchase contract. So we upload all of our addendum to that tab. So multiple PDFs can go in multiple places. Most of the ones that only require one form upload, if you go to upload something else in that particular item in the checklist, it will pop up a box that says, something's already assigned here, are you sure you want to change it? So you will have to instruct yourself. Okay, so how many of you know our Richfield broker, Angie? She's hilarious. When we were learning this as the broker, on the broker side and the TC side, this will bring up a, congratulations, wahoo, you did it. You completed, you split docs, great. Do you want to return to your checklist? Do you want to return to your docs? Like a little kid in a candy store. Every time one of those wahoo good jobs came up, it was hilarious. So now we want to upload the whole transaction instead of just one doc at a time. Like, I'm seeing yawns, I can't do this.
Wait, so if I'm following your thought process, so if I have my documents saved on my computer
Mhm.
and I don't want to do them one by one, you're saying now you're going to show us how to upload them all at once.
Yep.
Got it.
And bring them.
Okay, proceed.
You're good.
Just want to make sure I'm on the same page.
You can do a drag and drop method. Get out of that for a second. Okay, so we can do a drag and drop method, or you can hit the upload and go to your C drive, to your cloud drive, wherever your storage of your files are. Let me get you into my personal stuff instead of somebody else's. So here's my RDO. Here's our Fruitland that we're talking about.
I guess I'm not understanding why you're having to upload the whole thing again when it's already in there.
No.
No,
this
the
is if you
individual
haven't
document.
Uploaded them
If you
one by
haven't
one.
uploaded them, they're
Oh.
the individual
Put 'em in
documents. So
fast.
instead of having to upload one at a time in the checklist spot, you can upload them all at once and then come in and assign them. Versus doing so you do a mass
Yes.
upload or a single
Deals
upload.
never work that fast, it's usually piecemeal, you know?
Right. Well, and on our checklist, so if we have agency, we should have a buyer broker agreement, we should have a buyer due diligence and a wire fraud disclosure site. So in our checklist, there's 3 different spots of those documents going. So you can just upload all 3 right here and then assign them instead of doing it one at a time from the checklist. It's whatever is easier to you. So if I lost anybody, this is pretty simple.
I do have a question about the home inspection one. We
Okay.
have the buyer sign. We have them sign that before they even get under contract on property. Or no?
That is up to you when you present it. I would do it once they're under contract and we're talking about our due diligence and the home inspection with our clients. You have the right to do a professional home inspection. Do you want to do that? Now, if they opt for a home inspection and it gets scheduled through 360 Home Check, do we need to do the get home inspection form?
Oh,
Yeah. No.
you just upload the inspection.
Upload the inspection report and that will take care of that checklist point. Okay? If you have them sign that, get an inspection form, great. What about new construction? He keeps asking new construction questions. And I don't know who you are.
Oh, sorry, Carol Patterson.
Nice to meet you, Carol. So, new construction, do you still need that get an inspection form?
Yes,
Why would we encourage our clients to get an inspection on a new built home?
because there's always something they can find.
What
But they have a
happened?
right to waive that if they want, but they are out of the loop if we give them the form and they sign it and now they're responsible.
Right, but we want to take that one more step. Anybody ever had a independent inspection from the builders on a new construction home? Okay, what was found?
Lots. We've had sewer lines that weren't connected. We've had electrical that wasn't done correctly. I've had several things come back on new construction.
Also, when we're dealing with new construction, is it the agent and the builder standing over their contractors' necks, breathing down them every day? A lot of them are subcontractors. No cameras, nobody filming them. They don't think anything's around. I used to be a contractor, so the stories I can tell are kind of sick and gross. But I've seen them pee. I've seen them get mad at their employer, and you would never know it unless you had an inspection done on that new home.
Plus, they find a lot of meth in new construction because the workers go in and smoke meth. And so if you haven't told your client that they have the opportunity to do an inspection, then the liability is on you. They find meth 4 years later because their kid got sick, and they're gonna come to you and go, you didn't tell us that we could get an inspection.
Or radon, because there's no way to know about radon unless it's enclosed.
It's on the diligence.
Yep. So, but it's a very good thing to do new construction inspections independently of the builder. A lot of buyers don't want to because of the amount of construction deposit, earnest money, the nickel and dime that sometimes they go through with new construction.
When's a good time to do that?
Well, obviously you want to do it after your C of O. And I would do it right before you sign closing paperwork, so like the day before closing, because then the house is complete. There shouldn't be anybody else going in that property.
So Donnelly, I was talking with Andy Torkerson, and he was saying that he'll go out at the 4-way and do it, and then for free, and then in the hope that they have him then pay him to come back to do the official before closing.
Awesome.
We can't take you seriously.
I know, I was like,
I'm sorry.
With a giant tree.
Why is that in the back?
I love it. They all thought I'd win if I wore a pink Christmas sweater. So we're gonna do multiple uploads. So, and to do that, if you have a form like this and you click upload, you hold control to get, okay. My fingers are too warm, so my surface is catching them everywhere. So we're gonna do that, and those are the documents that we're gonna upload to this pipeline. Now you can see that your files are being uploaded, okay? So
can you, I'm sorry, I
Go
was
ahead.
distracted. So you just pressed upload, you went to your whatever drive, and you control, click, 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 and
and
that's.
it'll upload them all at once, okay? Now, our checklist is not fully comprehensive. There's definitely transactions that don't fit into this box, okay? Make sure when you're setting up your slopes, whether it's a listing, whether it's a buyer agreement, that you're watching what checklists are available to you. I do a lot of wholesale real estate. You have 3 documents in wholesale real estate. The warranty deed, a copy of the 5,000 to get them in to bid on the properties, and that's it. And then the check and the settlement statements from the wholesale company. So you have to watch your checklists to stay in compliance. Your construction has its own checklist, a referral agreement. What do you need to get paid out on a referral if it's coming to you? What's the document you need to get paid?
Broker.
So there is actually
I
a
didn't hear
checklist,
that.
broker to broker referral
Oh,
form. It doesn't have to be Presidios, it could be from the other brokerage, but it does need to be fully signed and executed by the agents and the brokers of the companies. Because at the end of the day, who needs to funnel our money? Where does it have to go through?
Broker.
Right. So there is a checklist specifically for just a referral that only requires the 2 documents you will need to get paid out on a referral fee form. So your checklists are going to change based off of what you instruct the system to do. And that's, I think, the hardest thing for most of our agents that I'm running into is they're like, but I have this type of transaction and it gave me this checklist. Okay, go back into your transaction tab. Can I change my checklist once I've established it? Absolutely. So I have a buyer. We know it's the buyer.
Do you have to hit an edit button to go back and change something?
Nope. But when you do change something, so let's say I'm just getting a referral fee on Bob the Builder, you have to hit next. I really should have something else from this one. You have to hit next for it to save it, okay? So you're still going to make sure all your players are in. You hit submit. This is the key when you go in to change the transaction.
So next, you have to hit next and submit.
Yeah, because then it's going to change these terms. They want to make sure that if you're changing checklists, that the other terms in the contract are on the slope are still correct, okay? So looky there, my checklist changed. I went from a buyer to a referral agreement. Everybody still with me? Are we bored out of our minds? Well, that's good, because I am. And I'm
What is
dying to
number
eat.
2, check HUD? What is that?
Okay, so again, yours is gonna look different than mine. You'll still see that in yours, but you will not have any control to do anything with that. You will not upload anything there. Because what this is when your commission check comes in, it comes in with a signed copy of the HUDs from the transaction. Compliance reviews those. We create our checks. Chelsea loves us and sends us that beautiful email, make sure this is correct. And we check it, we go. Okay, so that's building a slope in a nutshell. Everybody follow. We're there. Everybody wait.
Back to uploading docs. There's one more way you can upload docs too.
Yep.
Oh, you're not there yet.
It's dragging and dropping.
Or, see, every transaction has its own email address. See that right there?
Yes. Oh, yeah, yeah. I was going to get
So
there.
say you're willing to work with a buyer's agent, they send you all the docs and you send back, and you've got it on your email, right? All you have to do is forward it into this transaction. Go in there and copy and paste that email address, and it forwards into your documentation. Then you can assign it from there.
Yes. Now, remember, you can also, do we need to do a split? So we upload a real estate purchase contract that has 3 addendums and it's all in one PDF. Well, we know we have to put those in different areas. So in our documents tab, we come in here and we choose a document, we hit split. Well, this document's 8 pages. Everybody see that? So over here, you're gonna name, I changed it to a referral. Hold on. So pretend that says Repsy. It will actually pull up your checklist names right here when you're splitting the docs, and it'll automatically assign them from here. So we know that our Repsy is pages 1 through 6. Okay. Then we know all addenda is 7 through 10, or 8 in this case. Now, if you're splitting a doc and there's actually a page you don't need to put into the checklist, you don't have to put, you can skip over that. This will separate this PDF out, it will split it out for you. Once you've split it out, we can go to split, or you can do split and assign. Oh, here comes our little happy face. Woohoo! You get a gold star.
No, sorry.
See? That was perfect timing there. Yep. So we can go to our checklist or we can return to our docs. Look what that did for us.
Okay, so I just tried to do that and I uploaded 3 in a folder.
Okay.
And then I split them out like you just did, but now that I'm looking at my checklist, it only shows that there's 1 in review. So what did I do wrong?
You didn't do anything wrong. And review means somebody's actually grabbed it and they're reviewing it on the back end. Compliance is actually reviewing that.
Oh, so it does, oh, oops.
No, you're fine.
They need to know this is like a fake thing,
You're fine.
Oh,
I'm sure Carrie and I will have lots of interesting conversations once this is done. So if everybody's making up fake accounts, make sure they're good and there's some humor in there so we can laugh at them on the back end later today.
So just to tie into that, will we get like an email saying you're out of compliance, or we have to go into SkySlope ourselves and see the red lights?
Oh, such a great information. I don't know why this is doing this. So, let me look at my inbox because it'll give everybody a heart attack.
I'm sure everybody in here gets a ton of update emails. As soon as she cleans up your compliance, she'll send this is the status of your you know.
So,
this is missing.
Carrie will send something that looks like this after she's gone through your slope. This is the email you will receive from compliance. It's titled SkySlope Review, and you can see here what needs to be fixed. Okay?
That's great. It's like 2 ways of, yeah, I mean, we're doing a deal, we should be looking at it every day.
We should be.
I mean, if we're on vacation or something and yeah, it's good to get an email on top of that.
Well, and if you're on vacation, again, I can't.
Transaction coordinator.
I can't stress that enough. You know, we've got Jared Sparrow, we've got Amber. Obviously, I do it, but that's not what I'm here for.
I do have more questions on the transaction coordinator, because at what point are we stepping on each other's toes, and like who's responsible for what, and like is that just between you and them?
That's between you and them and how you guys best work with them. Most transaction coordinators like myself, other than Ben can't answer this because there is one rule I have: I will not CC my agents on communications. So they'll always be over-informed versus under-informed. So it just depends on how that coordinator works. But you should know, just because you have a transaction coordinator, whether they're licensed or unlicensed, and you're paying them an hourly fee, you should know that your name is on these documents. You should have an idea of what's going on with your file, okay? So, all right, so this is a buyer one. Now we need to get signatures, right? Who's played with DigiSign yet? I know you have, I've made you do it. Anybody else? Okay, DigiSign. We're gonna look at DigiSign 2 different ways because everybody says, oh, I have to have a slope to use DigiSign. No, you do not, that is a myth. Total myth. Okay, so is everybody back on their home pages?
But you have to have a slope to use DigiSign.
You don't have to have a slope to use DigiSign.
And
So,
when you mean by open up a transaction?
yeah, you don't have to open a transaction to use DigiSign. Because what if we're just doing a real estate purchase contract and we don't want to create that slope because we're not in contract yet, but we need to get the electronic signatures. Okay?
So
So.
you have just a buyer, you don't have a slope until you're under contract with that buyer, correct?
Same with listings. Listings are a little different. You're gonna put the listing in and you'll have the slope started, but then you'll have to do an accept contract, and we'll get to that here shortly. So DigiSign, real quick, I'm gonna go fast and furious because time's running tight. So if we don't have a slope yet, we need to use DigiSign. Sorry, Jen. Wait till I start talking about Fruit Loops. So let's go back here. So we're going to create a new envelope. Okay? New envelope. So it wants us to, what property do we want to tie this DigiSign to? We don't have a property yet. We want the property. We're hoping the property's there. But let's save ourselves some work. We're going to hit no property. Okay. This beautiful little upload button again. So we need to have the listing agreement signed. So we just uploaded that with no property assigned to it, right? So you see how it's circling, it's building, it's thinking. So we uploaded it. We have this checkbox is key in the left-hand column. Your document will not follow through to the actual DigiSign part if that box is not checked, okay? So once it's checked, it puts it over here to say, oh, this is the order of the documents that we're gonna sign. If you have multiple documents, you can reorder them, do whatever. Okay, so then we're gonna hit next. Okay, so we need to add our client because we haven't built our slope yet. Everybody following me? New. And we're gonna type in the role of that individual. You're gonna select it, you're gonna say who needs to sign. So Jennifer's gonna play ball of the builder's agent. Yeah, it's not gonna take your email address, Jen. Okay, anyways. We're gonna assign the role has to be signed as the agent. So we just need her to receive a copy. So we're gonna change this to receives a copy. So who's familiar with DocuSign?
DigiSign.
DocuSign.
I'm somewhat familiar with DocuSign.
Okay, and .loop. When we're CCing somebody, what happens in those two programs that's different from DigiSign? It's a key thing. When it gets sent out with .loop or DocuSign, which is no bueno because we're not using those at Presidio, you will get an email that says this document's been sent out for signatures, and then you'll get a second email that says it has been completed. DigiSign's different. You will only receive the copy once it's fully executed. So if you have a TC, and they need to receive that document, you're going to add them to receive a copy. If you're working from your login in your DigiSign, this is the other thing. Nobody else can access this. I can't access it. Jen can't access what's in there unless we put it there. Only the owner of the account can access these documents. So keep that in mind. If they need to go to multiple places, you need to make sure all the CC people are there.
Can you add CC people later in the process?
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to go and create it, like say you have a buyer that isn't quite ready to make an offer, but they know what home they want, but you want to get the documents ready, you can go in and create everything right now, as long as you know that things aren't going to change on the document. But you can upload it and get all that prepared and ready so it's ready to go. And then when the time comes, you can go in and add your TC or Jen or whoever needs to be additionally added.
Yep. So this is going to look different because it's a listing supplement on an REO. So now we need to assign signers, okay? So usually we have all these little fields that we know we have to check the box, blah, blah, blah. With our check boxes, I encourage you to assign those to yourself. So make yourself a signer, assign that checkbox to yourself, because this is the other fluke with DigiSign. We can't make any of these fields required except for the signatures. So they can skip over optional things like checkboxes, any writable fields, anything like that that doesn't have to be signed, the client can skip over. So 9 out of 10 times, if I assign that checkbox to the client, it's not gonna get checked. You're gonna upload it and it's gonna get flagged. So to save yourself some heartache, biggest tip, assign the checkboxes to yourself. You take care of those checkboxes. Does it make it easier?
Quick question. So in the checkboxes, someone told me one hour ago that if you want them to actually be the one who has to have the checkbox, you can actually have it be their initials, and that would count as a checkbox. And that's required then. They can't go past without doing it, right?
Right. You can do that too. Yeah. And anytime, so with compliance, here's the other thing that's new for a lot of our agents when we're doing compliance. If you get flagged that section, what's the common one on a buyer broker, that there's no additional attachments, I think it's 9, 10. Anyways, there's a radio box that you can choose are or not on a buyer broker, or the FERPTA section is another big one. People don't check is or is not. Compliance will flag that. Once compliance flags that, you can't just simply go in and add that checkbox yourself and re-upload it. It has to be initialed. Brian put this question on the Facebook family page over the weekend about how to do that the appropriate way. Strike-throughs, initials, that sort of thing. Anytime we change or alter a contract that a client has already signed, if we make a change to that, it needs to have initials next to that change where our clients acknowledge that they know that's what we're doing. Okay, go ahead.
Do you have a recommendation, like what Tressa just said? Is it best to just have them initial next to the check boxes so that we know they've seen it and we didn't just check it, or I don't know.
If that's what you want to do, some of us are close enough with our clients. We know what the answer is supposed to be or how to do the box.
Any changes made, we want to make sure they say, yes, I agree to that change.
Yeah.
Most of the forms are already prepped, right, for signature boxes and check boxes. I mean, I'm really hoping that we don't have to add all those to LO forms. So can you show us how to do it though on this? Is this where you would, is this the screen where you would add a box or whatever?
Yeah, you can add signatures, so we're gonna do that now.
Okay.
I just have I'm using my own personal docs because I don't want to use anybody else's transaction docs. And I'm using the most transparent docs I can, which is my foreclosed property docs. So we need to sign, or we need to have them sign. So we're going to click on signature. How do we know that it's the signature that's going to be put on the page?
When you put it on the page.
Well, when you put it on the page, you'll know. But the other indicator is, can you see the white box that highlights the signature box? That's how you know what you have selected. Okay, everybody see how I did that?
And if you have multiple signers, they're color coordinated as well.
They're not color coordinated, that is different. You are thinking the wrong program.
But you drop down and you can.
But you drop down, and if there's multiple signers, they'll be in here.
Right.
Here's the other thing that's nice about DigiSign. So we think we're done, okay? And we've added everything and we know we have 2 signers. If I go to hit send, but I forgot to assign a field to the second person, it won't let you proceed. It will say, not all signers have been assigned a place to sign. So then you go back and review it. Again, we want to review before we hit that send button. We're all human, everybody makes mistakes, but we can help ourselves sometimes.
I have a question.
Sure.
For adding initials, do you have the ability to like just copy one initial field and then just paste it on each page, or do you have to go through and do like manual on each page?
What? You're just clicking?
Mm-hmm. Do you see that? You don't have to copy. If you're highlighted on an initial, you scroll.
You have to be careful with that because sometimes you might accidentally put initial randomly on the document.
This is very sensitive, so definitely watch that. But no, the paste and copy function is not a DigiSign feature. because it's more of a point and click. So you don't have to do that.
Is it user friendly enough for my clients to be able to go in there? I mean, like, I could see myself doing a husband and wife and putting just like a signature box for the wife and like, or for both for her and not, you know what I mean, if it's that sensitive. I would love to be able to see it, what they see when they get it. How easy it is to go in and sign. Because I'm used to .loop, but it was pretty easy.
Very similar to .loop.
Okay.
And just a suggestion to everybody, send a couple forms to
To
yourself.
Okay.
Go through and see how it works, so that when your client calls you, you can explain it to them how to go through it.
So like if you're doing a buyer broker, make yourself the first signer.
But what you're showing us is before a slope has been created.
Right.
So,
but that has nothing to do with DigiSign, because you can add the recipients.
but how often are we having to add signature fields and initial fields? Like, because the templates are already there, right? When we create a slope. This is like for agency agreements probably, right, at the beginning.
And maybe I'm not following your question. So are you looking for something that has come out of the MLS and has
The template already set up.
See, I've never had to do that with .loop. That's so weird.
okay, so .loop has built-in templates.
Yeah.
You can do that with DigiSign. Here's the downside to doing that. Why do we not want to do that?
Inclusions and all of that tax data.
Well, that too, but look right here in our MLS forms. How often are these forms being updated with new verbiage and changes to them? That if we create a template, we're just going to continue to use that template because it's there, it's easy, it's what we know. But with .loop, you have to manually go in and change that template to the updated version. It's not going to.
Admin did that for us. So.
Right. But a lot of the times it doesn't happen in time to keep in compliance. So when you're doing documents, templates are great unless they're broker documents like our admin form or something like that, the broker referral. It's always great to make sure you're getting your forms off the MLS. So when you're talking about the fields like on the executed agency agreement, if I print this, it's already going to have those in this document, right?
Right.
So when I upload it to SkySlope, you'll see that on the document. So I can upload one.
So like what you're describing from the MLS, that's not signable field. We have to assign those fields, that form, is what you're saying.
You have to put it into the electronic signature to assign it, yes. Into the slope, into DigiSign. But like Jennifer said too, if you have a slope and you email it, it'll automatically go uploaded. Am I following that question? Anybody else? Am I following that properly? No?
Yeah. Just keep, I'm sorry, I'm talking to you.
You're fine. Okay, so again, this class could go on for like 7 hours, honestly, because
I just have to get in there and do it.
And who are your supports? Stand up if you can be called to help with questions on this. Who in this room? Yvonne, stand up. We have a cute little blonde out at the desk. Jeff can be called for help. I can be
That's
called.
why Chelsea's in here. She's taking notes.
Trying to learn.
Trying to learn. And
Chelsea,
I've
we can
learned
do
a lot.
one-on-one if you need it.
Okay.
And
Since
I'll
we
do
learned,
that
we'll
too.
change.
If you need it, I can come and do one-on-ones if you want a more intimate setting to do it a little bit more. Just call me and schedule an event. I'll come to you and we can sit down and run through one. Okay. Here's the other thing I want you guys to know. SkySlope has a very dedicated team. So up on your main page, can you see this little cute head with a microphone? You click on that, it's automatically going to bring this up. What just popped up? Immediate chat assistance. How do I do this? Okay, if we don't want to do a chat, and they will send you transcripts of your conversation. So if they show you how to do something that you do not know how to do, you can get an email of that and save that for later reference. So down here, we come down and oh my gosh, in our support, we have, how do we do this? So I go into, how do I create a listing? Office support in SkySlope. We got a YouTube video. It's very exciting. Just so you know, they're very exciting.
Look at how to create a listing.
And it'll go step by step.
Using Sky, our listing assistant.
So it also has the pictures down here with a step-by-step guide, so it can show you how to do it. So your support in SkySlope is a big help, especially if you can't get a hold of one of us. I never have anything going on, but you know, Casey's always slammed and busy. Chelsea's always busy. Jennifer sometimes is too busy to take our calls. So we have a question. We're trying to get this done.
Try really hard.
Hey, nobody's playing the blame. We love
She
them.
always answers mine.
That's right. Is Donald Trump on the back of your shirt? I
If-
answer your phone.
Oh,
Just kidding.
let's not go there. So anyway, so this support desk
I
is
think there's a
great.
way that you can create templates in there for, if there's like, for instance, our property manager, she uses different forms than we do.
Uh-huh.
And so she uploads her own forms in there in her working docs, so she can use her form to hurry and send out. And so she can create a template like Dotloop that did.
Yeah.
That says 2 signers need to sign this and here's where they sign. And then it just says who are the signers. So I think you can create, again, I'm saying I think. 'cause I've never
No,
done
you
it.
can.
Okay.
You can create the
Create your own
templates.
template, so
Like
it
ready to go,
automatically-
so you don't have to add all the old.
Yeah, so automatically
But
have the
you
signatures
have to
everything
be
you need.
responsible for making sure you're up to date with the MLS.
Yep.
At the same time.
That and make sure that, you know, sometimes when you fill out like anyway, the signatures and dates move, just make sure they're all accurate where they're
Yeah.
supposed to be.
One thing about DigiSign that I still have not mastered, it does not matter where I move that stupid little signature thing. I can't, and I have OCD, especially to check marks. I'd have it straight center in the middle of that square for a check mark, and when it comes back to me completed, it's like over here. So just bear with that. No, you're gonna have to, it's just a quirk of the system. Okay, so I wanted to get to that part really fast so everybody knew that there's a resource and a step-by-step with your SkySlope that you can go to that's not long-winded and talks too fast, but you can walk away knowing you have a resource to go there, because there wasn't a point to do a PowerPoint for this training because it's so hands-on, plus the support that comes with our SkySlope has the PowerPoints and the videos for you already there. You just needed to know how to access them.
And if you get stumped, call them because the service is great.
You can
They'll
call-
walk you through and
Oh yeah,
answer anything that you have.
you can call them. You can do the chat. Going into this chat forum, they will stay on that chat with you as long as you want. If you're not a phone person like me, do the chat. They'll walk you through step by step, and then they will send you that log of the conversation. Even also when you call in, they will email you a record of that call and the step-by-step instructions they went over with you. So the SkySlope support team is really awesome. Like I said, I'm happy to do one-on-ones if we need to. This is such an in-depth, intensive class that hour and a half really wasn't enough to cover the whole thing. One more thing I want to show you. We have listings. Remember how I was showing you, what if you have that incomplete tab? How do you see if something hasn't been fully submitted? Okay, so from your home screen, anytime you click on either manage transactions or manage listings, oh look, do you see a purple one there? Somebody needs to fix it and make sure that it's in a pending status. You will see this. You can always navigate to your list and to your transaction. Make sense? So if it's in an incomplete stage and you're like, oh, that one's not going to go anywhere, yeah, this trash can right here that'll delete it. Oh, I need to go in and finish that. You click on the property address, it'll pull up the slope, and you can finish it from where you left off. Okay? Now, when we see the word expired, that means that either our listing is expired or that it's closed and the office is still waiting for a paycheck. Okay? If we see something sitting in expired status for too long, that means we need to take action. Either our check hasn't shown up for some reason, they are missing documentations that we've overlooked, or we've extended our listing but forgot to correct SkySlope. So just make it a habit that anytime you change something in your transaction, whether it be on the MLS, whether it be through contracts, addendums, whatever, make sure to go into SkySlope and correct it so that everything's accurate. For reporting purposes, it'll help you, it'll help keep everything running smoothly as far as payout goes. Okay? So, create listing, really similar to our buyer broker. You go into the create listings tab, you hit this green one, a little bit different here. Hit enter, this little cute gal's gonna walk you through it, who's the agent. This is a lot harder on mine because I have everybody. We'll pick on Colton, he's not here. Cole, are you there? I don't see him. But I'm blind and I can't see. So then you type in your property address. If this is feeding from the MLS and that you've waited a couple of days to put your slope in, but you've already activated your MLS listing, it'll pull that up.
But you should check it because sometimes the MLS addresses are screwy.
And also, this is a national system. It pulls from national MLSs. So sometimes we have cities and streets that are similar and it might automatically pull up New Jersey's address versus Utah's. So you can do, if you don't want to do it that way, you can go to a manual entry, or if it's not finding your address. So you're going to type it in, hit let's go.
So back to that screen before, you would just put literally the MLS number?
Yeah.
You put them, you don't put the number.
No, you don't put the number right here. You put the address.
Is there a screen before that where you could just put the MLS number?
That's on buyers.
Really?
That's on the buyer side.
Yeah, so you don't want to take a seller's previous sale and
Right.
that in. Okay.
Right. So let's say we're doing Pony Express and Draper. It just loaded it for me, right? So I'm gonna hit let's go. We're gonna choose what type of listing it is. Is it a commercial, the lease, the standard listing? We're gonna hit listing. Now we're gonna put in our purchase price. So we're doing $259.9 because that's a unicorn price point right now, right? So then we hit next question. Are commissions always percentages?
No.
Okay. You can change from percentages, if we're like that other company that we won't talk about. I like to talk about them. Because their color happens to be my business color, so I'm allowed to talk about that color. Okay, you add those in, so 3 and 3. You know, we don't want to sell ourselves short. We always want to get that 6%. This shows the breakdown, okay? So then we hit the next question, our listing date. Well, it's today. Normally it's 6 months from now. We're going to select that. What year was the property bill? We're going to go 1976. Where did we get this? We got it from the open house fairies. Okay. If our seller is a LLC or a corporation, we can switch from individual name to a company, right? So then we're going to hit next question. Look, it's going to give us a cap of it. Does it look right? Yeah, let's create my listing. Who's ready for another gold star? Oh, it didn't give it to us that time. It'll come up and say, wow, you've done it. But now does this look familiar from where we were a second ago? What tabs do we have? Listing, contacts, documents. Okay, so we're going to upload our documents, but here's the difference with the listing side versus the buyer side. Once we have an accepted contract, we're going to click on accepted contract and enter our contract information, and that's what's going to derive our commission tab. So it's going to walk you through the terms of the contract when you see the accepted. Again, asterisks are required. Now this screen should look very familiar.
So this is only when you're, like if you're just getting it prepped for a seller, for a listing, you wouldn't create a slope yet. If you just want the exclusive right to sell, that would be in that documents, the personal, what was that?
The working folders.
Okay.
I have one more question, sorry.
Sure.
Is there a way to transfer from DigiSign to Working Docs without, or do you just download it, upload it?
Remember the email function that we talked about earlier?
Yes.
If you don't have a slope, you cannot, you would have to download it and re-upload it. If there is a slope, you have the option to go into your working docs. So we've created our slope. We need to email it, right? We need to get our buyer broker in there. Or I want to do an office or earnest money receipt. See where the checkbox is there? You're gonna hit upload document, or whoops. Why isn't it giving me the option? Okay.
I thought that if you had something digitized, it would automatically goes into your Word docs and then you can assign it to go.
You can do it that way.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's how I did it.
Yeah.
So anything that gets DigiSign will go into working docs.
Unless
It'll
you
go
assign
into
it
working
otherwise.
docs, or you can assign it, well, not everything does unless you instruct it to. So,
Everything has for me so far.
but if in DigiSign and have something signed, so like this, we can have it emailed to a pipeline or a file. You can use your move tab that was just up there. You can move it to your working docs. I can move it into one of my folders into a different that I can go into. Or I can go in and hit assign. To the property, you can come in here and assign it to Mange Street. So I search, I found it. I'm gonna assign a document here. Okay. So the email was pointing out. I am shipping and handling, so I'm not big technology. It's a necessary. With it. This email connects directly to SkySlope. So if you CC that on emails, in however you're doing, it'll automatically put that in the correct slope. And each slope gets assigned that. Typically, it's the property address. So you'll notice here, Dream On 123.
So if you set up under your settings and you go to notifications and you click the ones that you want about emailing for transaction notifications or listing notifications, when you set that up and when you are, or when you select it in there, will it go according to how you set it up in here?
Yep.
So it's not like you have to go in each time.
No. So here's the other thing that people don't use or realize here is a transaction summary. We're in a contract, somebody wants contact information. We just built ourselves a contact sheet by hitting one button. All right there.
Where do you find that? How did you
Send it to title. Okay. Everything, I'm pointing to this, not big screen.
Oh, got it.
So,
So,
everything that has, every slope that has a transaction screen. So you can build that. Okay, we're out of time, but I will hang out if anybody has more questions. Is there anything that we missed that somebody wants me to go over real quick? I really didn't want to bore everybody. I hate the camera being there.
That was good stuff. How do you, the basics of what we need to know?
It was great, thank you.
Sorry, I wish it was, like I said, this is not a class I will do one-on-one.
Our practice one.
I'll come over and show you. You may not have the ability. to
So
do
I'd like
it.
to do a practice one as well, and you're saying it's not gonna be free guiding the admin people, I just have to have funny
Just
names.
put the word test in it.
Just put
Test-
test in it
test
and
run,
your
okay.
commission thing.
And
Test
then
run, go
But
by.
if Courtney showed you, you can go in and delete it, just go in and delete it. Then what happens is
They
we'll
may
get a
not, once
notification.
it's actually done, they might not have it, so I might have to go and delete them.
Well, yeah, we'll get a notification because you're not allowed to delete everything, but it'll delete it off yours and it'll say, do I want to delete it? And then we do.
Okay.
And you guys, I did bring trees